Welcome back, everybody, to the Valorant First Strike UMG Close Qualifiers. I'm Taylor Reflections Noble, joined by Esports Doug, as well as Simo. And definitely did not go the way. Well, you know what? It did for two of us, at least for Doug, as well as myself. Right? We predicted TSM to come through and get this victory, although we thought it'd be a lot closer. But I think it was, without question, we knew Haven was probably going to be more lopsided over towards TSM. So if they were going to take a map, this was going to be it. I expect map number 2, right, split, to be a little bit more even. Now, just to get it started, I did have a chance, you know, while I have some little downtime, I had the chance to go through some watch parties. Myth wasn't happy with you, Simo. Actually wasn't happy with you at all. We're safe. Like I said, me and Doug, right? We went to TSM, went the safe route. Right now, it's looking good. 13-6. Are you kidding me? Another person who wasn't happy with you was Tenor Metro, right? One of the guys, the community streamers that went through. Simo, you're not making any fans here, so let me ask you, are you still 10-toes down in your prediction? Are you still sticking with Moon Raccoons?
Listen, logically moving into this one, it's so easy to predict TSM. They have like an insane favorite here. They are the favorite here. There's a world where, like, I can't imagine a world where TSM aren't in the top 8, but sometimes you got to root for the underdog, you know? You got to give them a little love. They're the only, I'm the only one that's predicted. Actually, Steel, I think, made a prediction to Moon Raccoons over TSM. So I'm not the only one. I'm not alone, okay? Not alone.
All right. Okay. Well, you know what? It's funny because I was watching Tanner Metro, and he's definitely shooting to be the coach for TSM, maybe overtake Myth's spot, but that's to be determined. Of course, Myth's still at the very top. All right, let's bring it back down to reality, though. 13-6 again for TSM. They played very, very well. And Doug, before we went on break, you were making a point, right? You're making a point about, first and foremost, TSM on attack, and also about that team composition. I want to give you a chance to go ahead and finish that point you were making.
Well, it's just really interesting how they played the attacking side, and I think, honestly, it showed a lot of depth out of TSM. And here's the thing. When you've got, I've been trying to think of a good comparison here, and I haven't been able to come up with one, so I'll just go with it. When you've got 3 duelists like that, when you have the flashes and all of the utility that they had, all of the firepower behind that, on the attacking side, it's very easy and it's very tempting to just brute force your way onto stuff, right? Like, who's going to stop you? You've got 3 duelists running down your throats. But I was really impressed by TSM because we didn't see that, right? There were 3 rounds in particular that I can think of where it wasn't just brute forcing their way onto a site. They were intentional about causing a couple of distractions elsewhere on the map to pull resources of Moon Raccoons really all the way around the map. So I was just very impressed by TSM. They had that. They could have played it that way. They could have brute forced their way around, but very impressive macro play across the board on the attacking half.
I have to say, I want to add that, like, I want to echo that same sentiment. I think for TSM, and you saw even Moon Raccoons try to adapt. There was just so many lurking plays from TSM, regardless if it was on the attack with the defense. They sometimes even had 2 players, and it didn't bite them in the ass whatsoever. Like, you saw Profi try to adapt. He was always on the counter lurk, on the counter flank, trying to find TSM in a little bit of a tough position and try to, you know, answer back for some of those Sabrosa and Hayes lurks. But it just wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to stop the TSM train. You know, on a map like Split, I don't imagine as many lurking plays because of how defensive sided it is. But on Haven, TSM really got everything that they asked for.
Yeah, definitely. So, you know, there was a big breaking point or a big moment for Moon Raccoons on second half. It was round 17. Moon Raccoons started to break the eco of TSM. It was very apparent, right? But unfortunately, they lose the next round right after that. And that was one that they absolutely needed to win. I think if they win that next round after breaking the eco, they might have actually had a real chance, maybe to bring it a lot closer. Unfortunately, they didn't. But as the map does get loaded, we're heading into Split. And this is where I was kind of talking about maybe the breaking point where Moon Raccoons ties it up and sends it to a game number 3. Percentage-wise, they actually lead the charge when it comes to winning on Split, albeit they don't have as many reps. So Doug, Simo, real quick, just very briefly, heading into Split, after watching Haven, what do you think the chances are now for TSM versus Moon Raccoons?
I think it depends on what composition TSM brings, right? Like, we've seen them willing to bust out the Viper on this map. Are they going to bring that, or will they stick to their 3 duelists? I think that's obviously left to be determined, but that has a drastic impact, in my opinion, on how the map may go. That said, I think, again, I was really impressed with how TSM played that first half. All of the potential thoughts around whether or not they were coming in a little sluggish seem to have been answered. TSM look really good right now.
Simo, very briefly, what do you think? What are the chances Moon Raccoons ties this up?
I mean, I just have to echo the same thing. The only problem for us is that we don't really know what Moon Raccoons are capable on this map, and they have to bring this one to go to their favorite map or their best map. So there's a lot of question marks. I can't make any answers for Moon Raccoons because we don't have those answers. We know TSM struggles a little bit, but you know, I think they can still do it too.
Well, after that Haven, right, that's a decisive victory, 13-6. The fact of the matter is Moon Raccoons, they may not be as strong on that map, but they should have kept it a lot closer, and they didn't. So Split, let's see how it goes, right? I mean, it's up in the air. At least whenever it does come to Moon Raccoons, they're going to be starting on defense, so they better start off strong. But hey, the map is, in fact, going to be underway very shortly. I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to you guys to break it too. But hey, check it out. It's going to be Split. Guys, take it away.
Thank you, Taylor. We are going to get into the action as soon as we can. Again, map 2 between TSM and Moon Raccoons going to be going down on Split. Now, Simo, we haven't seen a ton of Split really at all. But now that we're going to be going into this map, what is it that you think brings us to this point? Why are we seeing Split instead of something like Bind?
Well, TSM banned Bind. And, you know, if you look at their map pool, they didn't really play a lot of Bind in the close qualifier, in both close qualifiers. They played it once during the Open. I don't exactly know who that was against, but, you know, you're probably going to find some teams that, you know, end up picking Bind or whatever, or the map pool or the rotation, or whatever ends up happening. Maybe somebody had a higher seed over TSM and ended up picking Bind. But taking that map out of the pool kind of hurts Moon Raccoons in a way, but they also have that same similar level of an unknown when it comes to Bind. They didn't play a lot of any other tournament. We obviously didn't see them in the NSG close, eliminated by 100. Very close match. That was actually a Bind map that we saw from them, and they only closed. TSM for Bind for the major. They want to, you know, focus on that a little bit more because you're going to end up playing it at some point or another. But for Moon Raccoons, or die. We either see them step up to the plate similar to how Gen G did on that second map against FaZe, or we'll see them crumble. If it's a 2-0, I don't think a lot of people are going to be surprised. But if Moon Raccoons does bring it back, I don't think that's surprising either.
Yeah, and I think for Moon Raccoons, one of the things that kind of left an impression on me is when we casted them last night, Temperature was a madman.
Yeah.
On Haven, he was a non-factor. He didn't have the same impactful plays that he had yesterday. So we need to see a bit more out of Temperature on the side of Moon Raccoons for them to really be able to take down TSM. And I know that that's been difficult. Alexander on the Reyna was fine, right? Nothing insane, no super crazy highlight plays, but really across the board, Moon Raccoons just left a bit to be desired.
Yeah, we'll have to see what level up happens. We are getting word that they're just remaking the lobby, so apologize for the podcast. We'll be done shortly, where you can tune in next week to the next episode of the podcast. But while we're waiting for this matchup, we can continue to kind of break down the composition choices for TSM at least. We talked a little bit about the Viper coming through and maybe even the Killjoy for Cutler, but they've opted in, especially in the closed qualifier here for UMG, for the Breach instead of Killjoy and Phoenix instead of Breach. Or sorry, Drone is off of the Breach, and on the Phoenix, Cutler is off of the Killjoy onto the Breach. Sabrosa off of the Omen onto the Raze. Every team needs a Raze, I think, on Split. A lot of great corners to clear with the Boombot and the Paint Shells. But the triple duelist is going to be scary. We saw some of that out of FaZe versus Gen G, and it seemed to have worked quite interestingly. But Split being a defender-sided map, that's where Moon Raccoons are starting. If it ends up being like a 6-6 or a 7-5 in favor of Moon Raccoons, like, I just don't see a world where they come back from that. Like, TSM need as many rounds as possible on the attack to really not let it be, you know, an 11-1, a 10-2, even a 9-3, I think would still be a little scary because we saw Gen G almost climb from that. But ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, podcast, we'll leave that for next week. And we're going to be diving into map 2. Will TSM 2-0, or do we see the Raccooners take it to the moon and take us to map 3?
You know, I'll be really interested to see how both squads decide to play around the middle of the map. When we were watching the FaZe versus Gen G match, there wasn't a whole lot of mid presence here, which is not something super common. But again, here TSM on the attacking side, no mid presence at all. They're stacking heavy towards A. We'll see what they have up their sleeves. You imagine, again, with the composition that they're going to have, the Phoenix, the Jet, and the Raze, along with the Paranoias and the different abilities that Omen's going to have, you imagine something a little spicy. You already see a smoke towards screens and a smoke towards heaven. The next thing you normally see is the Paranoia right across the middle of the site. That's exactly what happens. There was not an early push from TSM to kind of coincide with that, and because of that, Temperature and Fiend were able to get a kill a piece early on.
Yeah, that Paranoia was huge, and now it's all down the backside. Wardell trying to do what he can from range, from distance, but Moon Raccoons win the pistol. You blink and you miss it. The round is over. Honestly, Temperature was just a great paranoia to stop the push. Probably heard a lot of footsteps trampling through and stopped the craziness that was about to ensue. And ultimately, I think it found like, what, 1 or 2 picks because of that. So Moon Raccoons off to a great start. We'll see if that the second round conversion should be pretty straightforward, but we'll see if that third round conversion comes through for TSM, because I don't think it quite did in that prior best of 3 that we were watching with FaZe Clan and Gen G.
Not an early look towards A, but the same smokes, or not the exact same smokes, but some smokes are going to be coming out from the Omen. Meanwhile, we were talking about mid presence and whether or not teams would on the attacking side would play around that. TSM already at least showing some that way. Moon Raccoons have a couple of members poised right around this highly contested area of the map to ensure there are no shenanigans coming in from either heaven for both sides. And for now, TSM perfectly content with just kind of waiting this one out.
Also look at the position that Hayes has put himself in. He can catch a couple of members off guard from Moon Raccoons. They're still looking towards that angle, but he can really set up a great split off into A site. Considering Temperature's the only one there, if Hayes finds that duel, a great opening push here for TSM, and they could really make this eco work for them.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's going to be a problem, too, as the utility comes in from the side. Temperature was able to take care of Hazed, but there was damage done across the middle of the map. Moon Raccoons have dropped 1, but TSM here, again, they don't have as much firepower as they would certainly like to be bringing into this fight. Wardell does have the Spectre. However, to keep things spicy, to keep them interesting, it's not going to be around for very long as Alexander gets the best of them.
We even saw, I believe it was Cutler trying to fault line towards Heaven there to try to help him out. Now the nades come through. They've got a crossfire set up. Sabros is the last one standing. Oh, the Sheriff shots are momentarily crispy, but Moon Raccoons convert onto that second round. Pretty standard stuff. This is the round that we want to pay attention to, the setup here for TSM. Already we're seeing members funnel off to both sides. We might be seeing some mid control once again, or we might be seeing a TSM fake, right? Sell the B hit, both duelists there, try to win a challenge against Rebo of some kind, and then just slow move on to the A site. We'll see how Moon Raccoons deal with it. They've got a lot of presence towards that A site, not a lot of mid presence, and that might work out for them. Oh, we're actually seeing a little bit of a change up. TSM going to be going towards that mid side once again.
Yeah, Fiend is going to have the op as well on the side of Moon Raccoons as he's holding down towards A, ensuring that nobody is going to be working their way through. Meanwhile, not a ton of presence in ropes. Really, across the middle of the map, as Moon Raccoons for this round is relatively comfortable with just kind of giving it up. Some utility from the Cypher around the B site to ensure that that's much more difficult to get into than would have been otherwise. And TSM already dropping 1.
Slow and steady here. B-main is a tough choke point to push through. Oh, the Rebo junk peak. I don't know if he sees a lot of people there, but we'll see how much firepower can be provided by the Heaven side. Now they're starting to funnel in. Drones at least can get in early. Wardell still supporting from the back, but now the swing comes through. Profi just running in and gunning. Holy smokes! Wardell missing a crucial shot. Down to 2 members here for TSM. Man, I don't know if a lot of you have seen that Tense clip in a DM where he's just running around, but that's exactly what that felt like. Profi just holding left click and the right arrow key just moving along. 2 members remaining here for TSM. Gonna be a difficult site to break through, but now they're starting to be pinched in from behind. There's the smoke. They're gonna be pushed in by Temperature. All down to 1 final player, Hayes. They're just gonna push in 1 at a time. Oh, Hayes! Holy smokes! That should not have happened for Moon Raccoons. Great job from Hayes to mow down, but still Moon Raccoons convert onto that 3rd round.
It was really interesting to watch Moon Raccoons play, and particularly Rebo, play B when TSM funneled in. You saw members start to funnel into the site, and that cage on the backside past the pillar was enough to keep TSM at bay. They're like, we can't push through there. We're going to give ourselves away. They'll know if we're coming through. So he was just kind of like stuck in no man's land. And that allowed Profi to come flying through, as you said, and clean things up. TSM not going to have a ton as far as weapons go This time you're already seeing some utility use. Fiend is going to be pushed off as the spike works its way towards the middle.
Oh, the Blades got to work out, and boy, do they. They also have a TP play here from Hayes. He's going to get close with the Vandal, upgrade that, and it's a beautiful split here for TSM. They've also got mid presence. They're prepared for it. There's the Frenzy as Fiend is prepared for that as well. And now he's just going to reposition, but TSM have got all their little tendrils all across the map. It's going to be difficult for Moon Raccoons to recover. But it all started off with that hazed play and the support there from Wardell. Down to the 2v3, make it a 2v2. Moon Raccoons are climbing back despite all the presence here from TSM, but it boils down to Alexander. Spike going to go over towards the B site, and it's going to have to be a 1v2 retake from Moon Raccoons.
Yeah, and the difficult thing for them too is that TSM is going to be able to assume post-plant positions. They're going to have a chance to get set up, get everything that they want. And this is a very difficult ask here for Alexander. Yeah, Sub Rose is weak. He's only got 5 health, and he doesn't have a weapon, but Hayes does. Doesn't have a ton of armor. Alexander's certainly going to be weaker as he creeps his way up towards heaven. No real information on where members of TSM might be, as Alexander's just kind of guessing. You see him check almost every corner. Oh, yeah, that shoulder's going to give a position away. He did see one. Blast packs his way across as he gets onto the site. Again, not a ton of firepower out of Sub Rosa. That was the easy one, but now he's got to win this one too. Sub Rosa has the weapon, and the clock is ticking away. Hayes, excuse me, not Sub Rosa. Hayes with the 3K and the thrifty round win for TSM.
Hayes was in a good spot too, potentially watching any of that flank from that back alley if Alexander decided to work his way through that difficult spot. But the Heaven play is a little bit more open for him. And the Blast Pack actually put him in a good spot to catch a quick peek from Hayes. But he was patient. They knew that he was on site after that Blast Pack and the drop down, of course, to boot. But good on TSM to get around early. They needed that to stop any sort of bleeding. That was a little close, the 2v2. Fiend almost got that shot onto Sabrosa. But let's have a look at Moon Raccoon's mid presence for the first time. They want to stop how TSM managed to split them up and really make it difficult to retake the sites. And it starts with mid presence to stop TSM from doing so.
Couple of flashes coming up, but nothing really aggressive from either side. Drone's going to get tagged up and forced back a little bit. As you look at the members, look at the presence from Moon Raccoon, Simo, across the middle of the map. They're all funneled in around there, waiting, surely thinking that that's where the push is going to be coming from. But TSM quietly work their way back over towards A. You see Profi has the Rolling Thunder. Keep a close eye on that. You imagine he's going to want to hold it. As you see the Rays start to go forward, there's information. Guys, nobody's home. This is not the play anymore. We've got to rotate out.
Oh, there's the red carpet for TSM. Or sorry, for Moon Raccoons. They're answering back. A paranoia to stop the push early. Profi leads the charge with the Stinger, but look at the flank from Alexander. He's going to be coming in from behind, and he's slow moving over there. TSM, if they decide to double back, they may go towards that mid presence, but they're going to wrap all the way around. But some of those members are going to be dropping down. Guess who's there? Oh, Sabrosa! The jumping shot works. Takes down Alexander, and Moon Raccoons are running to answer. Profi loses the battle to Hayes, and the A site is wide open. What a crazy little round, and TSM come out on top.
Yeah, the thing really just kind of fell apart on Moon Raccoons at the end there. They had the read on them, right? Like they could hear TSM rotating through spawn, but Sub Rosa dropping down into sewers, giving, I believe it was Alexander, the business, really just kind of opened things up for TSM. At that point, there was no more information for Moon Raccoons on whether or not they were going to be rotating back towards A or if they were sticking to their initial B commit. Profi was also still on A, but he was by himself, right? So TSM are able to get that kill after starting to rotate. They think, well, there's no way they're going to know if we're coming back. They pivot back towards A, get that last kill from Moon Raccoons on the A site, and then, as you said, the rest is history. They were able to take the site, get the spike down, and easy going for Team Solo mid. They're going to bridge the gap down to 1. It's a lead for Moon Raccoons, but a slight one nonetheless.
Saving those weapons for Moon Raccoons is probably the ideal scenario. 2v5 retake, especially on split, is not something that you can easily scoff at. And look at the economy. Moon Raccoons in a tough spot. This might be the equalizer for TSM. If they run back that A play, it seems to be a little bit more efficient than the B hits. Those B hits end up getting down to the 1v1, the 2v2. So this might be a good idea. Profi will have to pay attention to where he ends up the Bucky, looking for some of that close action. And a very interesting setup for Moon RACCOONS, giving up that heaven control, playing on the site. We'll see if it pays off for them as TSM giving up some of their own mid presence and just gonna wait this A push out.
Creep their way forward. The spike certainly in that area. Also worth noting that TSM does have the Omen ult. So if things get dicey, they could rotate away, but I love this from them. They're going to use the Rolling Thunder on B, and immediately, like clockwork, you see members from Roman Raccoon start to rotate, but TSM gives up the cues. Alexander with a huge two-piece. He's going to get traded out, however, as Fiend drops. Temperature still on the site, anchoring things down, holding them at bay. TSM has fallen apart on this round as Moon RACCOONS hold fast.
I wish I could see the perspective there from Alexander. Spike picked up, shot's gonna be good onto Temperature, but they know that he's playing towards Hell, so he's gonna smoke off screens and only focus on the Heaven push. We've got a player coming in from the top side as well. Color's gonna take him down, so already this is being equalized by TSM just because of the raw weapon advantage that they have. Alexander only had the Showstopper and a Sheriff. He doesn't have much else to work with. Spike going down, and it's the 2v2 retake. How will Moon RACCOONS fight this off?
Looks like they're going to be pushing in from a couple of different fronts. Rebo's going to get onto site, but it's actually Alexander with the 3K on the Sheriff. Rebo spots the last one. He only has 4 bullets, but it does not matter. Alexander makes that Sheriff sink. Cutler drops. Moon RACCOONS are going to be able to defuse the spike and take a 2-round lead here in the opening half.
That's a great win for Moon RACCOONS as well. It almost really fell apart there. 2v2, especially with Wardell on the op and then Cutler in a Hell position underneath Heaven. It's tough. It is very, very tough. And the fact that Rebo pushes the smoke, gets into a position on the outside of it, you have to anticipate that there's a player playing in Hell that he can't see that push out. So Alexander works with him to get that info, get that damage done, and now Moon RACCOONS regain their lead and regain their economy because it was falling apart. Wardell still going to be purchasing the op this round, armor on no, without armor, however. So he's going to have to make sure that those shots land in the mid push that TSM are preparing.
A camera early on from Rebo, at least for now, is not going to be getting any info as the smoke keeps things at bay. If they were to push through the smoke, obviously they would be exposed, but for now, TSM waiting patiently on the other side. Rebo playing a bit off, kind of giving up a good bit of room here. And you see Moon RACCOONS is doing the exact same thing around A. There's no presence. They're starting to rotate off of it, actually. The only person that was there, Temperature, is making his way towards B.
This is a very interesting play from Moon RACCOONS because you have to think about Rebo's position, right? He's playing ropes. He's been playing the B side anchor the entire time. So the fact that they get tripwired, that there's a camera there, they're like, what is going on? When is this guy ever playing here? And now the battle comes through, Color's gonna lose it. Wardell wins the battle, pushing up. But now TSM has a little bit more control. Drone really being the hero here as he pushes in towards Heaven. And now Moon RACCOONS are a little bit split up. A player coming from the defender spawn, one in B main, and Rebo still holding down the ropes here. TSM are going to hit this B site fast.
Run it back. It's going to create some room and get some info. As they get onto the site, you see Fiend has that operator, making sure nobody's going to be flanking around from behind. Oh, Temperature. He was able to get one. Haze sniffs it out and takes care of him. TSM just down to 1. The spike has not been planted yet. Haze gets cleaned up at the hands of Rebo up from Heaven. Moon RACCOONS win another one. And I just very quickly want to point something out. When Cutler went aggressive into ropes to challenge Rebo, you saw him drop the spike before doing that, which was really smart. It left TSM in a position where they can still rotate over to the spike and it not be in a terrible spot like we saw a number of times on Haven. So it's a minor thing, but that really allowed TSM to play the rest of the round from a position that still had options.
This will be the round that really breaks the straw on the camel's back. TSM forcing up here. You lose this one, you're put in a position where Moon RACCOONS are up by 4. We also have to continue to identify, split being defender sided. TSM have already done a lot of work to get 2 rounds, and now they're going to look to continue to do that same work. Sabrosa, Alexander somehow! What? How did he do that? Was that paint shells? Was that a blast pack? What was that? A flawless round for Moon RACCOONS. We didn't get to see that perspective, but I thought for sure, for some reason, that Showstopper was the one that found two, but Broza gonna lose that ultimate, and Alexander 14-3. What a crispy start here to split.
Yeah, crispy start is certainly one word to use for Alexander, and the Showstopper that was not available before, the common culprit when it comes to big multi-kills at the hands of Raze, now is going to be online, and now is going to be a factor, so keep a close eye on that. Additionally, for Rebo, 1 point away from getting that neural theft. We'll see if they try to do something early on to play for that orb control. At least that's not the case so far.
Not gonna lie, this TSM mid presence has been so effective for them, and especially gaining this B heaven control. So I'm glad that they're doubling back to it. But I like the setup from Moon RACCOONS. Supporting the anchor. Guess who's there on the opposite side? It's Profi. Oh, sees one. Throw the paint shell. Here comes Alexander. There it goes. Yeet. It goes in. But doesn't find anybody. Aftershock's going to be a problem. But still, they've been flashed out. Utility just continues to funnel through, and nobody has been taken down for TSM. Wardell just needs to hold the angle. But here comes the engagement. Alexander dies, moving up through the ropes. And so does Profi. They tried to hold the line, but now this is TSM's site to take.
It is. Moon RACCOONS just down to 2 members left. They're going to be rotating over from A, where they were playing previously. You imagine Fiend going to bring that operator in a 2v5. Yeah, I like heroics and flashy plays just as much as the next person, but this one's difficult. I do think one of the interesting things, golly, they might be going for this thing.
Oh, temperature. Still survives that. They might be looking for exits. I don't really think TSM is going to walk that way anyways. Smoke goes down. Fiend needed to win that gun duel if they even had a shred of hope winning this round. Shoulder peek from Drone. Works out. They'll double back through B main. TSM now trail by 3. No way. Temperature, you're trolling. You're trolling. Oh, Wardell. You might die to the spike here, but it may have been worth it, at least for the attempt from Moon RACCOONS. I appreciate the attempt. It's cheeky for sure, but now it is TSM trailing by 3.
I do think one of the interesting implications of how Wardell played that at the end is he had that operator. You saw him lose it due to the spike. They don't have enough to bring that into this round. So yeah, it was ultimately securing the round for TSM, but a powerful weapon lost as a result of that. Meanwhile, Fiend is going to have one, and he has 7,500 credits still in his back pocket, so he has plenty to work with. TSM trying to play around mid here, but Alexander goes in aggressive. Holy smokes, the Showstopper does just that on to Hayes as he's taken out.
Yeah, and they got to hold this B push now. Rebo, it's all down to you. How many members can you stop from TSM? He's getting tagged. He's getting shot. Drone takes him down. And now Temperature trying to spray through that default plant spot there behind the boxes. Flash comes through. 3v4 for Moon RACCOONS. The heroics with the Showstopper, yeah, it's great. They've lost too many members on this B site, and they have to go for the retake. It's going to be a tough one nonetheless.
Fiend still with that operator. Just in a brutal spot. He's got to check so many angles. He's able to take care of Wardell. The CC was not enough to keep him at bay. And now Fiend can move in a little bit more, as can the rest of Moon RACCOONS. It's going to be a 3v3. Fiend gets flashed up. Drone gets 3, and Cutler finishes it off. TSM take the round.
Yeah, it's a tough retake as well. Fiend, great finding Wardell early, but now they pick up the op from Fiend. They hold the line there. This is a very doable half for TSM to just, sit back, and even if they bleed 2 rounds here, it's not a big problem, because once we move on to the second half, it's going to be actually challenging for Moon RACCOONS to really push through the rest of this map. So really important that they secure 2 more rounds here, but 8-4 is very, very good for TSM. The better case would obviously be 6-6, and TSM would be very happy with that. So Moon RACCOONS, how they play this round out is very important. I like the double peek, the boost. We saw the aggressiveness from Alexander on the A lobby side last round, and this time double duelist peek through B main. They find a pick, and now TSM down to 4.
Running back being used by Drone to get some more room. He's going to be the tip of the spear for TSM as they work their way through ropes. Not being followed up, at least initially, but Drone able to get one. That's a big kill onto Temperature.
They'll trade that double peak. So Broza was the one that fell in exchange for temperature. Control has been super favorable for them, smoking off screens to give Cutler space to move onto the site. But is he selling this fake? That is the big question. TSM start to push over on towards the B side. We do have Alexander alongside Profi here. The defense hasn't worked out quite well, but now as TSM is doing their homework, pushing onto the site, checking all the angles. Wardell is going to take out Profi. Wall goes up, but Alexander is still back site. They don't know. It's unchecked. 2 kills for Alexander. It's down to the 2v2 as Wardell will nullify that. Spike going down. Double retake for Moon RACCOONS.
Oh man, Wardell going down is big there. Cutler's going to be the last one, and the neural theft has been used to give his position away. He's got some CC to try to keep him at bay. Somehow isolates that 1v1 on a Rebo. Cutler goes aggressive, tries to get onto Fiend, but it does not matter. There was not enough time as Fiend gets the defuse. Big win for Moon RACCOONS.
For this last round, Moon RACCOONS need to execute on that same play that they've been running back. An aggressive peek to A lobby or A main, an aggressive peek to B main. Whatever you got to do, play it cheeky. If you want to close this one out 8-4, by now, TSM have already gotten what they've wanted, right? The worst case scenario would have been a 10-2. But they've been playing this well, and the mid presence has been probably the biggest problem. Moon RACCOONS cannot hold the split off to the B site or to the A site. And guess where TSM are again? Mid, because it works, because it's been working. And Moon RACCOONS are really struggling to hold it. The retakes have been kind of 50-50. We'll see if Temperature can do a great job this time, as he's one of the first responders there in collaboration with Profi and Alexander on the opposite side in B Heaven.
As much success as TSM has found across the middle of the map, Moon RACCOONS still hold a 3-round lead here on the defending side. Now we're seeing him go a bit aggressive, and I think that might have been a bit of like an unfortunate interaction as Profi got pushed back as he was swinging on the drone. It was just easy picking for him there at that point. You see the Rolling Thunder has been used to clear out B, but nobody's there. Temperature holding down the middle of the map. 2, give him 3. The man is out of control.
One enemy remaining.
This is exactly what Moon RACCOONS needed, but guess when they needed this? Like several rounds ago. They needed to fight for mid because TSM were getting it too often. Now, I understand it's difficult to fight for mid on split. It's not easy. I'll give that, 100% credit, especially before the changes to split. But Temperature here, he's the hero that Moon RACCOONS needed to take this half to at least somewhat favorable stance for Moon RACCOONS. Because if you think about it, TSM win this pistol, they win the round after, it's 8-6. They're hot on the tail of the Moon RACCOONS, and they're on the favorable side. So Moon RACCOONS needed that win, but now here comes the big challenge for them.
They performed admirably on the defensive side. But as you said, now Moon RACCOONS with the lead on the attack, what can they do? TSM a bit spread out, giving up mid on the defensive side, and that's exactly where a couple of members of Moon RACCOONS are going. The rest of them are going to be splitting through Garage as they have turned their attention over towards B. Members of TSM are starting to rotate over from the defending spawn as they begin to drop onto the site. Sabrosa gets punished. He gets hit pretty bad. He's going to have to back off as Alexander and Fiend gate 2 on the site. TSM down to 2.
The last 2 members for TSM are in the back alley. They're going to at least try to find one here with the flames. Oh, the shots are almost crisp. Drone! He's going to find 3. It's a 1v1. The flash comes through. His confidence is oozing all over Split. Last shot's going to be good at TSM. Turbo dunks just for good measure. TSM will trail by 3.
Holy cow. I mean, at the end of the day, that was just Drone being filthy, right? Like, it's just absolutely insane. He's able to get this early on, force him out. A couple of shots there look rough, but then that snap onto Alexander, that opened things up for Drone. That allowed TSM to get onto the site, isolate things down to a 1v1, and at that point, as you said, the confidence was oozing, and he was able to get that, a 4K on the round. Drone coming up big there for TSM.
And for Moon RACCOONS, you have to force up here. I mean, it's the best chance for you to try to stop the bleeding as early as possible, because if you don't stop it here, then for certain you're going to get like 13-5, 13-6. You're just going to lose to TSM here, and it's going to be a 2-0 sweep for the boys in black and white. But now as they start to push in towards this B side, they're running fast. The Stingers from range, it's not going to do a lot. Sabrosa, temperature, everything is happening on the site all at once, and it boils down to 2 final players. Wardell's got shots for days. It's all down to temperature. 1v3, and Wardell with the Ghost sends his regards to Casper, takes down the entire Moon Raccoons lineup. And now TSM, they trail by 2. This is a scary position if you're a Moon Raccoons fan.
And I like how Moon Raccoons tried to make that round work, right? Like, they forced up, as we discussed. TSM has no idea that that's what they're doing. So Moon Raccoons trying to catch them off guard, go with a very hot and heavy hit right up the middle of the map to try to catch TSM off guard. But the paranoia from B, from Hazed, just caused serious problems for Moon Raccoons. They were all blind up in heaven. They just got ripped to shreds, and they didn't have much else to work with. Here we're going to see Moon Raccoons on the attacking side still, working their way towards A. We've seen heavy mid. Now we're going to see a heavy A quick one, too.
Well, they don't really have a lot to work with. They'd love to get the spike down, but that's exactly where it is. It's down. It's not in the hands of anybody. This is just going to be a quick throwaway round for Moon Raccoons. If they can find a pick, great. Hazed is unfortunately going to be the only one that feels that pain. Okay, that's one pick, but now you're dead. Unless you find one from range, which with the Frenzy, you're not going to find a whole lot of success. This is the most important round up and coming for Moon Raccoons. TSM have managed to stop the force up. Then, of course, they buy some of their own weapons. They're in a really good position in terms of the economy. They've won 3 in a row. If they lose here now, they might still be able to force up in the round to follow. But considering this is the round Moon Raccoons need to win, this is, I feel like, going to decide the tempo and the pace of the rest of this half.
Very well may be the case. Wardell does have an operator. Not going to be responded by Fiend here as he just has the Phantom. You hear the run it back has been used early on as you see members of TSM showing aggression from A. They start to funnel over. A good bit of utility there to keep things at bay. No information gained. A little bit of real estate by TSM, but they didn't spot anyone.
This is a scary round for Moon Raccoons. The fact that, oh man, Cutler is so deep in the attacker spawn. Moon Raccoons have gotten a lot of mid ground for sure. So this is a high risk, high reward play for TSM. Rebo's just trying to figure out where Cutler lurked up. He doesn't have a lot of information. Oh, he sees him. He sees him. 63 HP. He's got to push. Yep, the op, it misses for Wardell. Rebo's just on the run now. He's a fugitive trying to escape the police, but the rest of the Moon Raccoons, they're going to push on to the B side. Sabrosa still in B main, so he's going to be the X factor to pay attention to. The rest of TSM will funnel in the normal way.
And that's what I love what we're seeing out of Sabrosa here. Understanding he was alone and knowing he had resources, but they were elsewhere on the map, he actually gets off the site. He plays into garage by time for his teammates to show up, by time for the reinforcements to be there. Let's see if Revo is able to get that gunfight. No, he is not. Big kill for Cutler. More room for TSM as members of Moon Raccoons continue to fall.
Now it's all down to temperature alongside Alexander. Psych, it's just temperature, and he's feeling a little cold, all on his lonesome. Corpse on the ground gives us the dead giveaway. TSM tie us up 8-8. That was the round that Moon Raccoons needed to find some of their own momentum, but now the pendulum is starting to swing in TSM's favor. Ever so close to shutting out Moon Raccoons. Let's see how this next round is starting to develop. They've got the Blade Storm. They've got temperature to have that from the shadows if he wants to create a cheeky play. 5 stacking towards A. I imagine it's going to be a quick round. We'll see how much power Fiend's got in those blades.
Also interesting to note for TSM, both Hazed and Sabrosa are 1 point away from getting their ultimate. You see them positioning right by an orb towards B, so you can tell they're trying to get some there. You see the smoke comes out to try to give him some cover, and he's slowly going to creep his way forward. You imagine that the showstopper is eventually going to be put in his pocket. It's an inevitability at this point. Meanwhile, Moon Raccoons is going to be working their way over towards A. As you mentioned, they don't have a ton of guns to work with, so it's just a difficult task for them here, but they've managed to work their way into heaven. This is certainly far from over.
Fiend hasn't used the blades yet, and he's not going to get a chance to, as TSM are just going to hold the line. The flower pot angle, drone holds it, takes down the other player trying to push onto the site. It's all down to Profi, 9 HP. Going to be going the ropes route, and Sabrosa's going to be waiting there with open arms for the cross across mid. There you go. Shot's going to be good. Headshot, of all things, to take him down. Now TSM lead by 1. This is where things are starting to get even more scarier for Moon RACCOONS. How are they going to adapt on the fly? What are they going to buy this round? It's going to be the force up. No ops, no ability to buy them either. How are they going to defend against TSM?
Yeah, the wheels have really fallen off of the proverbial bus here for Moon RACCOONS. TSM on this half have put up 5 rounds in a row, and they've got money for days. I mean, they can bleed a couple of rounds, and they're going to be just fine. Moon RACCOONS not nearly as fortunate, but we haven't seen this a ton. They have a lurker over towards A, but heavy presence by B. You see that paranoia come through. Sabrosa goes in. He's able to get one. Alexander trades it out, however.
Shadows traveling.
Oh, here's the orb at least. Hayes won't shoot through it. Wonder which ultimate they got. It must have been the Showstopper or Rolling Thunder. Rebo's been holding down any potential flanks or lurks from A main. Just sitting pretty. He's been doing that consistently, and actually TSM forced them off a couple of rounds ago. Now Moon RACCOONS, the 4v4. Where do they end up going? Because they're still kind of tight-knit on the attacker side. Nothing has been set up quite yet, and TSM are holding great angles on every possible location. So they'll know Moon RACCOONS are coming before they even get there.
Rebo finally rotating away. Near the Showstopper. Alexander goes in, blast packs his way across, no paranoia to keep him at bay. He gets so much room, creates so much space for his team, but Hayes was just around the corner, and he's able to take care of him as well. 2 huge picks from Hayes.
Yeah, he really made it super problematic for Moon RACCOONS. It's all down to Profi. He's got the spike. Obviously may want to plant it down. He's going to roll out the red carpet just to get that extra money, but he's going to be burned alive at the crisp. Drone up above in heaven. Oh, Profi sees him. Headshot, 1v2, but not enough time. So unfortunately, he's going to lose the credits as well. 1,000 credits will not end up in his pocket due to the save here. I don't think he intended for that to happen. He just wanted to get the spike down. Now TSM, a great half for them. 6 rounds in a row. And Moon RACCOONS have done not a whole lot to stop the bleeding. They've tried, but it's been tough. It's been tough.
It has been tough indeed. You take a look at a couple of the ultimates that are available for Temperature, Fiend, and Rebo on the side of TSM. Cutler's close to the Rolling Thunder, 2 points off, but not going to have that available. You see Wardell with the operator holding down the middle of the map. Moon RACCOONS have shown some presence here. Wardell just narrowly giving a player of Moon RACCOONS a haircut and is forced off. He's gonna have to back up over onto A, and that's gonna give Moon RACCOONS a little bit more breathing room up across the middle of the map.
The way TSM are positioned as well is to handle any mid pressure, not necessarily at ropes or, but they've got a great handle on what's going on here. Sabrosa's gonna go up and over. Can't gather his bearings quite yet. The 4v4 remains. Drone will rotate back into ropes, and they'll try again to hold that mid pressure. But B main is going to be pretty easy to walk through. There's not a lot of presence from TSM to look in towards B main, so this should be a quick sight hit for Moon RACCOONS.
Yeah, you see the smokes coming out, the paranoia declare at the back of the site. That's going to let TSM know where the action is going down. You still have Wardell on the opposite side of the map too, ensuring that there are no shenanigans. Drone up from heaven is able to get 2, looking for the 3rd. No. Alexander trades it out with the Spectre. He's the last one standing, able to get 1, 2, that's 3 on the round for him. He drops things down to a 1v1. Alexander with the heroics, keeping this round close.
1v1. Wardell versus Alexander. He sees Wardell, a headshot! As Moon RACCOONS, they stay alive. That was for sure a round for TSM to come up. A lot of that mid presence gave a little bit more space for Moon RACCOONS to play with this B-side hit. Of course, Drone found a lot of success retaking it with Cutler. But Alexander, he was the player to watch out for, as Steele had highlighted in his own predictions for the Moon RACCOONS to take a series. He's been performing quite well, but listen, it's TSM. Drone, Sabrosa, and Wardell are always going to show up when it matters most, and boy are they. TSM still lead by 1. Moon RACCOONS, another stab. Stay alive.
Get out of my way.
lot of presence towards B. You hear the runner back has been used from drone as he creates some more space, gets some more info. For TSM, he did get cleaned up, not able to get any kills, however, and there was also nobody following him up. Fiend goes in aggressively, at least takes a peek over those boxes with the Blade Storm. Nobody is there as well. Moon Raccoons showed a bit towards B and across the middle of the map. They're actually going to be rotating through the spawn and take a look at how much real estate Wardell has been able to pick up on the side of TSM.
That's why TSM have been able to play so mid-favored. Hayes is looking to be main push. The other three members can just hold this choke because TSM has so much real estate, as you pointed out. Alexander's going to be the first to peek here. Probably doesn't anticipate Wardell holding that angle. And now this is just Moon Raccoons. Where do we go? Where do we end up pushing? The fact that Wardell's given up the angle means that TSM need to respect the potential A hit. And so B is a little bit more easier to hit, but we only know that because of caster vision.
30 seconds left.
Rolling Thunder, causing problems, yep, as Fiend drops. Cutler's able to get the best of him. Profi got knocked up pretty badly as well, but somehow Moon Raccoons here, a drone up from heaven is able to take care of Temperature. The spike goes down as well. This round is for all intents and purposes lost for Moon Raccoons as TSM should. Yep, there it is. A flawless round and a 2-round lead.
And if you're a Moon Raccoon fan, life is really starting to look a little bleak. TSM have really held this defensive side well. You could see how effective TSM were on their own defensive side, managing to find 4 rounds. Or sorry, yes, on their own defensive side. That is the best case scenario. You know, Split is very hard to penetrate through as the attack, and you're seeing that here from Moon Raccoons, right? It is very difficult, and TSM have done a great job. Looking at the setup this round, once again, Moon Raccoons trying their hand at some mid-presence as Subroza. He's been playing the B main side a little bit and finding a little bit more success. Wardell holding that angle up in heaven is going to find 2. Wardell, one more is going to do it! Wardell! Can he find another? The eco is falling apart for Moon Raccoons. Temperature, the last one standing. He's got a future Ram, a Spectre, but he doesn't have the rest of his teammates. Wardell and company will start their hunt. They smell blood in the water. The sharks are out. It's open season. Temperature, light armor, and a Spectre, and a whole lot of nothing. Almost gets the kill onto Subroza. The running gun not going to work out for him. TSM at match and series point. I'd imagine Coach Myth is ecstatic about the potential qualification here for TSM for the first strike major. And boy, are they about to do it.
Wardell had a huge round there, and I also think it's worth pointing out, Wardell was able to get that opening pick with the operator into Alexander, who had just used the showstopper, right? So that was certainly in the face of peril. Big kill from him. Then, as you guys saw, the rest of the round was really highlight reel content for him. Moon Raccoons, as you mentioned, down to their last. No room for mistakes. They haven't been able to get anything going up the middle of the map. This time they're hanging out over towards A, which is where TSM has the vast majority of their resources. A couple in heaven, some backside. They're actually starting to rotate away. I love how passively and how cautiously they're playing this, but Moon Raccoons goes in. Oh my gosh, it's like playing Duck Hunt. He just rips them out of the sky. Moon Raccoons fall apart. They're just down to 1 member left. It's Temperature. He backs up. Wardell goes in aggressively. Temperature takes care of him. He's got the Guardian able to get 2, but no. Subroza takes care of business. TSM 2-0, Moon Raccoons in advance.
Wow. Wardell was like a fly swatter there. It was the August heat, and he just went, well, pow. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say this, can of whoop ass onto the Moon Raccoons there. Just absolutely dominating them. Holy smokes. It was a little bit more competitive on Split, but TSM, as statistically as you would predict, would win that. Let's bring Reflections back in. Reflections. Yeah. What a series from TSM. Moon Raccoons, they almost stood a chance, but TSM, of course, too strong.
You know, it is one of my favorite sayings to say whenever I cast, whether it be Gears of War or whatever, is, you know, sometimes it is a tale of 2 halves. And in this case, it definitely was, right? And Split is a tale of 2 halves in most series and most cases, right? But you look at Moon Raccoons, 8-4 first half, just a dominant performance coming out from Alexander. I mean, he just played so well. He was not scared, right? To use those SAS charges to go in, maybe get a quick pick. You know, and also for Temperature, Temperature Temperature also played very well. That sneaky defuse, by the way, in round 9, you know, I forget if it was you, Simo, or Doug, who ended up saying it, you know, when Moon Raccoons, you know, are playing, they basically play to have fun. And that seemed like a fun play, but it was an important one too. And Doug pointed out, actually, because obviously, you know, one of the members had to stay back from TSM, you know, he had to rebuy, right? Which obviously kept him away from getting that op in the next round or round after that. So even though it was kind of trivial and it seemed fun, it seemed playful, there was a real reason why it seemed he did it. That 3-piece, by the way, in mid for for Temperature, right? I mean, you pointed out, Sima, like that needed to come a lot earlier, but this is where things started to fall apart. All right, drone comes off, round number 1, picks up these massive amount of kills, and then that led into a second round, first round, right, for Moon Raccoons, and that led into a loss. That led into a save round, led into a loss. It just started really going downhill, and Moon Raccoons, yeah, they win a couple of rounds in the end, but Simo,
listen, maybe I should have stayed as TSM Simo. It seems like I would have been fine. I would have been in the good graces of the TSM community. But listen, my predictions, just wanted to see if the underdog could take it. I think for Moon Raccoons, this was the challenge. This was the next step to leveling up their roster, right? But we also have to consider for one moment, think about who also didn't make it, right? Got teams like Genji, Exet, Beast Coast. There's a lot of great teams, Energy, that did not make it, and Moon Raccoons is among one of them. They had to beat TSM. They're a very difficult opponent. They're top 5 in an A for a reason, right? There's a reason why they are one of the best, why they have made it to grand finals over and over and over and over again. So statistically, TSM should have made it, and they did so in the fashion that you would expect TSM to do so, in a dominant one.
Raccoons, yeah, you know, they suffer a loss. Again, they had nothing to lose coming into this. They had everything to gain. And even though they do lose, I think they gained quite a bit, right? They gained a huge fan base throughout the run of, you know, open qualifiers, closed qualifiers. And more importantly, I think they actually probably put themselves in a great position, despite the loss. I think there is an org that might find great value in Moon Raccoons and this team that has been, you know, poised to do great things.
Yeah, I think so for sure. They certainly garnered a lot of attention, rightfully so, with the performance that they had, unfortunately just coming up a bit short. But I think Alexander was just a standout player. I mean, I don't even remember. He had like 67,000 kills or something insane like that in that second map. Dude just like popped off. You mentioned earlier on he was in a lot of ways playing fearlessly, and it paid off for him. But again, it really, at the end of the day, Simo continued to double down on this point, and he was right? Like the lead for Moon Raccoons in that first half was just not enough. Knowing that TSM was going to be able to come in from a position of strength in that second half was just too much. They overwhelmed Moon Raccoons, and while it was an admirable performance, they just fell a bit short, unfortunately.
And, you know, to be truthful, right, in that second half, you know, would a couple of rounds mattered? You know, it could have, right? I mean, woulda, coulda, shoulda. There's a lot of if factors. But the point is, you know, I think Split was the best opportunity for Moon Raccoons, you know, to send it to a game 3. And, you know, they gave it their best shot. They really, really did. And they were an exciting team. And I can't wait to see what the future holds for them, you know, but just like teams before them now, of course, they will exit. But for TSM, they will move forward and they can breathe a sigh of relief as they have, in fact, made it to regional finals, despite, you know, some ups and downs. Now, finally, everything is justified in the end. A good series overall, still one more to come. And it is going to be a fun one for many reasons we'll get into, but it's going to be LG versus Immortals. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.